They might ghost you. They might ignore you for 2 weeks, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to ask. So that's going to be important. Building the relationships is more important than ever. We're going to talk a little bit about what that looks like here in Q2. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Becky here with you today. I am really excited for a solo episode. We have had so many incredible guests here on the podcast lately, and it's been a hot minute since you just got me. So I figured when is a better time than kicking off the second quarter together. We just finished up our Academy Pro and VIP virtual retreat. And in that retreat, we really take 3 hours to dive in deep to what's working in our business, what's not working, what we're loving, what we're not loving, some of those shifts that we want to make. So this is top of mind for me right now because I just heard from so many successful direct sellers on what they have going on in their business, what they're thinking about right now as we're shifting into the second quarter. So if you're listening in real time, you are right on time. If you're binging and catching up a little bit, I still think that this is going to be a really relevant topic for you just here in 2026 because we all know that things have changed dramatically over the last few years inside the direct selling industry. I think one of the big themes that I'm noticing across the board is it's just taking a little longer to build that know, like, trust factor. That's something that we've always prided ourselves on as direct sellers is that we actually get to know people and, they like us and they trust our recommendations. And in this day and age right now, we're kind of in this weird space where there's a whole lot of weirdness going on with AI created content, but there's also this kind of cloud above the direct selling industry after all that we experienced in 2025 that I think people are just a little hesitant. They just need a little bit more validation. They need to better understand the business opportunity. They need to better understand what it's like to sell. And it's taken them a little bit longer to say yes when making a purchase. So if you're feeling that right now, that maybe you have a lot of leads in the pipeline, you have a lot of people you've been talking to, but you haven't quite got people to say yes to the opportunity or say yes to making their first purchase with you, you are not alone in that. That is definitely a trend we're seeing across the board. And I'm also very hopeful that as we roll through 2026 and kind of get through that sluggish first quarter and move into prime time sales time here for the spring season, that a little bit of that is going to start to fade away. So if you've been like, oh man, Q1 didn't quite go as I expected, I think there's many others that can also relate to that and are making pivots and adjusting and adapting to really make their business work based on how people like to shop and how they like to buy right now, but also to really fit inside that lifestyle that you're working to build. So whether you are building exclusively online or if you are also building in person, we're going to talk a little bit about what that looks like here in Q2. So really excited you are here today because this is a jam-packed episode. It's like all the side conversations I've been having over the last 3 months, plus at the virtual retreat, bundled into one compact episode that's going to give you exactly what you need right here, right now. So I can't wait to hear your takeaways. Definitely message me over on Instagram and let me know what you learned after you finish listening to this episode. So the big theme that I'm hearing over and over and over is around the word visibility. I have a visibility problem, or I'm feeling like people just aren't seeing me or they're not engaging with me. So how do I start getting more visibility? And there's kind of 2 buckets here, right? There's visibility with people that already have shopped with you, that already have that know, like, trust factor with you. There's a visibility problem there. But then there's also a visibility problem with people that you haven't met yet, that you would love to connect with and nurture and build a relationship with and make your next best customer. So let's just dive into what's actually working. We're getting real. I'm not sugarcoating anything for you guys today. What is actually working? Where are we seeing results right now, especially as it pertains to your current audience? So when I say your current audience, I'm talking about people that are on your email list, people that have been following you on social, people that have probably shopped with you before is your current audience. So I'm seeing the fastest way to some cash here in Q2 2026 is a text experience party. People are engaging with you over text. In fact, I've heard feedback and reactions to this that like, wow, that felt like a game, or oh, that was really fun. So what I'm talking about by a text party, and we've had lots of training on this inside the Academy. In fact, it was one of the strategies that we shared as part of Party Like It's 2026. But the idea here is that your current customer base, you ask them, hey, I'm trying something new. I am running an event exclusively over text message. It happens over 48 hours. You're going to get about 8 text messages. In each message, you're going to choose if you'd like to hold those items for you or if you'd like to pass on those items and you're not interested. So the best way of seeing this done is more of a bundle party. So we're not just putting one $10 item out there. We're putting a $40 bundle out and letting people say, yes, I want that bundle, or no, I'm going to pass on that bundle. So the idea is 8 messages, 24 hours. I've heard is the best practice. Try to do it in the evening hours when people are off work or they're home or they're relaxing. You're going to send a series of these messages out to them. I love using Project Broadcast for this. That would be my go-to strategy if you are a Project Broadcast user. If not, might be worth investing because otherwise you're copying and pasting. You're sending a lot of messages manually, which you can absolutely do, but it might be a little bit of a time saving for you if you invest in a tool like Project Broadcast to send those text messages out. So these bundle parties are getting incredible results. I'm hearing anywhere from a couple $100 in sales upwards to $3,000 in sales from one text party. That means you're writing 8 text messages. Yes, you are inviting them. Yes, you are scheduling them. Yes, you're engaging back and building a cart for them or taking care of those items that they choose to accept in each bundle at the end of it. But I mean, thousands of dollars of sales are coming through these text events. Now, I really believe the jury is still kind of out on if this exact strategy works for somebody that's brand new. Like you'd have to modify it because there's a little bit of a product education and you really want to be engaging with somebody that hasn't shopped with you before. So I'm a little on the fence if this is the best strategy for brand new customers to experience. But if you have a solid customer base, you should be running a text experience with your existing customers every single month. And you're not blasting this to your entire list. You're asking people if they want the invite. When they say yes, you're opting them in and you're putting them into a group of customers that receive these messages. So definitely if this is not a strategy you've been trying or using or been successful with, or maybe you tried it and you need to try it again, every single month in Q2, I want to challenge you to do a text party specifically with your existing customers to drive those repeat sales. And again, build that know, like, trust factor, get in front of people and show off maybe even what's new. I wouldn't show everything in the entire catalog in 8 text messages. I would curate these bundles, be thoughtful about it, know that they're not going to see everything. But if they want to see everything, give them the option to click that link and go directly to the website and browse all the things. But if they enjoy messages being delivered directly to them on their phone, I think this is a great strategy to work into your Q2 plans. Okay, the next thing that is working when it comes to new customers, I'm going to go a little bit back old school here because I'm going to be real. What is working when it comes to acquiring new customers? In-person events. And I know some of you listening listen because you love digital marketing strategies and you love being behind the computer, but I'm just going to say it. If you can get out there and do an event, whether that's a pop-up event, a vendor event, a private party, just for a small group of people, in person is a sure thing. If people are showing up in person, they're probably going to buy from you. And I know it's more effort. You got to get dressed. You got to get in the car. You got to drive somewhere. You might have to set some tables up. You might have to bring some product. I know that feels like a heavier lift for some, but you build that know, like, trust factor so much faster in person, especially if you have a product that does well in person. I'm saying things you can smell, things you can taste, things that you can see that maybe you need to try on or you need to see really how great it is in person. I'm telling you, let's just put our big girl pants on and go back there and do some in-person events. This is not a forever thing, but I would say definitely here during the spring when there's lots of spring festivals, spring vendor events, farmers markets. This is a great time of year to go out there and meet some people. Here's the other thing. Once you're meeting people, it is so important that you're capturing that lead. I've heard from so many direct sellers, oh, I sold $1,000 this weekend. Oh, I had a $5,000 event. And I'm like, well, that's great. But how many leads did you get? And they're like, like 5? No, oh my gosh, no. The most important thing at these events is that you're capturing these leads so you can continue to serve these customers. Nobody should be a one and done cash and carry purchase. You need to make sure that you're connecting with people. And the very best way to do that, I'll say it loud for the people in the back, because really this is so, so important, is that you're capturing the lead. You're not having them scan a QR code. You're not having them fill out a slip of paper. You are actually pulling up a lead form that you've built on your phone. You can do this in a Google form. You can do this on Oh My Hi. You could do this in many other different platforms and tools. Bottom line, you need a form on a website up on your phone. And as you are talking to someone, you're going to say, I'd love to enter you in the giveaway. And you hand them your phone. I'd love to activate that warranty. Hand the phone. I'd love to send you my favorite recipes related to this product you're purchasing. Here's my phone. I'd love to send you some recommendations of other products that I think you're going to love. Here's the phone, right? So we're not filling out a form. We're not doing a QR code. We are actually physically taking the device in your hand and handing it to that person. I just heard from one of our students the other day. She started using this strategy. Shout out to Amy Ziegler. She started doing this, and she said out of 79 customers that shopped with her over the weekend, 78 of them filled it out. Only one person awkwardly handed back the phone and said no thanks. So that's some good numbers, right? That's 78 new people that you are able to nurture with those digital marketing strategies that you love after that event is over. But we are not leaving it up to them to go scan the QR code or fill out the piece of paper and then hope that their handwriting is clear enough that we can transcribe it and put it into another system. This is also saving you so much time, right? All of those leads that are coming in, how beautiful. They're directly in your CRM or in a Google Sheet. Easy for you to do the follow-up, which is equally as important, right? So what's working to get new customers? In-person events and capturing the leads at the in-person events. And if you're, maybe a little hesitant on this, you can start by doing an open house at your own home. You could do a pop-up at a friend's house and ask her to bring a couple people. It doesn't have to be big and grand. It doesn't have to be a 4-day festival where you're getting there at 6 a.m. to set up and you're staying until 10 p.m. You can baby step your way into this, but getting in front of new customers in person is a sure way of bringing in new leads and new customers in your business. All right, we're going to keep going. I think we're on a roll here. So what is also working? What is on trend? The ABCs, you guys, they don't change. They don't go away. So many of you have heard me train on active selling or asking for the sale, building relationships, and creating content. That is still very much what you should be doing every single day in your business. I want you to practice asking for a sale every day. It can be as simple as a text, checking in. Can I help reorder that for you? Or, hey, I was thinking of you. Did you want to take a peek at our catalog? Or, oh, I know you had your eye on this item. Do you want to go ahead and get that ordered? It's practicing, getting in the habit of asking. The more you do it, the easier it gets, I promise. But every day we should be asking for a sale. It doesn't mean you have to get the sale. They don't have to get a yes. They might ghost you. They might ignore you for 2 weeks, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to ask. So that's going to be important. Building the relationships is more important than ever. Again, I am kind of in awe of how much AI created content has really entered our feeds over the last couple of months. This is something that I did not say at our 2026 planning workshops in December of 2025. So just 3 months ago, this was not on my radar. But now, here today, people need to know that you are the real deal. And I really mean that, right? There is so much content out there that I look at and I'm like, is that real? I look at it and I think, is that actually an influencer? I look at it and I think, did they just ChatGPT that entire post? Is that even a graphic they created and spent time on their own? It doesn't feel genuine. It doesn't feel sincere. And let me tell you, I'm a big fan of AI. We're using AI a lot in our business, and I could do a whole nother episode on how we're using it, but I think that's the important piece, how you're using it. So when it comes to building relationships, you sending a voice message is something that can't be replicated by a bot. You sending a quick little video, waving and saying hello to your customers is going to be really impactful. So taking it one-on-one to build the relationship, I'm not talking about social content yet. I'm talking about building the relationship. That's a one-on-one conversation that's happening over text, that's happening in the DMs, and it should include your voice and your face. So yes, you can send a text-based message, that's fine. But if you can include your voice and your face, it is going to build that know, like, trust factor, build that relationship that much faster. Okay, moving on to the C of the ABCs. When it comes to creating content, we got to keep showing up for people. But here's the shift that I'm seeing in the content piece of the ABCs. I am seeing more and more direct sellers that are go-getters, that are in this for the long haul, building sustainable businesses, creating content on their own platform. And yes, we do need to keep showing up on social. I'm not going to be the girl that tells you to abandon your Facebook account or your Instagram account. As much as you would love for me to say that today on the podcast, I'm not suggesting that. But what I am seeing is the content we're creating as direct sellers is getting sharper and it's getting smarter. So rather than going to create a 15-second reel on Instagram that's going to be there for 24 hours, I am seeing more and more investing in building their own brand, creating long-form content in a blog post or a video that's being hosted on YouTube, or maybe even a podcast, right? There's so many different places to do this. And then taking that content and breaking it down to short-form video. So we're definitely seeing more that are investing in their own website, investing in digital marketing strategies, writing thoughtful emails that are going to get directly to their followers, not leaving it to the algorithm to decide who sees what, but being really intentional about building a beautiful brand on their website, creating content on their website, dripping content out over text and email, and then repurposing that for the social content, right? So as you're thinking about what content looks for you in Q2, I just want to kind of challenge you to maybe think a little differently about it. It might not be about creating 3 reels per week or showing up with a post every week. It might be being more intentional about building content on your own turf. So I want you to think about that as you roll into this quarter. Watch what others are doing. See how their businesses are shifting and pivoting, especially those that are leaning into things maybe outside of direct sales. Maybe they're starting a coaching business. Maybe they are also selling product bundles. Maybe they're also an affiliate for another brand. They're being really intentional about building their brand on their own turf with really good content that is real and authentic and genuine, that probably includes their face on part of it, and using that as the foundation of the content that they're sharing on social. So I love all these shifts that we're seeing. Long gone are the days of creating a Facebook group and having a party. We have outgrown that strategy, not just as direct sellers, but consumers have as well. That's not how they like to shop anymore. And so if you're still dragging along, trying to hold on to some of those old strategies that maybe served you last year, a couple years ago, 5 years ago, this is your sign that it's time to step into something new. Q2 is a great time to experiment, to try some new things. It is spring season. People are outdoors. They are shopping a bit more than they did in Q1. It's a great time to get those systems in place so they're working for you before summer hits, and maybe we have some vacations planned or we have some time away from the office planned. Your business can still work for you in the background. And then definitely in advance of the third quarter, where we start really leaning into fall selling season, and we know that people's wallets and hearts are open as they are shopping and prepping for the holidays. So that is kind of your long-term runway of what is coming up over the next couple of months, but take Q2 to figure it out. Take Q2 to try something new, to step into this new brand. It's springtime, right? We probably have like a whole analogy around this. Springtime, blooming, stepping into new things, fresh start. This is your time. Sometimes we think we have to wait until the start of a calendar year. It has to be a January thing. I am giving you permission to make it an April thing. All right, my friends, thank you for being here on the podcast today. This was so fun to share some insights of what I'm seeing, how things are shifting, and how you can get ahead of it as you're building your business here in 2026. I can't wait to see you. So shoot me a message. Let me know maybe one of these ideas that you're taking and running with here in Q2. So I will see you back here next time for another episode of the Modern Direct Seller Podcast. Until then, let's make it a great day. Bye, everyone. This episode is sponsored by CinchShare. CinchShare is the #1 social media scheduler for direct sellers and loved by creators in any industry. It's truly your one-stop shop for all things social. Join hundreds of thousands of social sellers and entrepreneurs who turn to CinchShare for free social media training and resources. Get started today with your free 30-day trial at moderndirectseller.com/CinchShare.